India is grappling with a huge COVID tsunami, and the Indian diaspora everywhere in the world is sending aid to India in this hour of need. From Melbourne, Australia, the Federation of Indian Associations of Victoria, the FIAV, has sent 8 containers of essential aid to India. I spoke to Pritom, Dutta, and Sanchita Abrol of the FIAV about this giant effort. Take a look. Aid to India. How did you get SoftMed to join FIAV?
So there's a reason it was important that we're gonna have Sanchita ji. Now she worked with NGOs for quite some time, and that's how she understands the due diligence while checking with NGOs and how they operate and check all the required requirements they have. This is more of a aid sent by Chemist Warehouse, and they reached us and they said that they want to send a certain amount of aid to India. Then what it did a research on who would be the best NGO to get back in India. The challenge is that most of the time we didn't get any proper response, and also need to make sure that we are channeling through the aid through an organization who works.
You mentioned, I think, 8 containers of aid going to India on the 7th of May. All those containers have left already for India?
Yes, so all those containers are left on that day. It will take 3 weeks of time. And in the meantime, what you're doing, that Sakshi, the organization you mentioned, so they've worked with multiple organizations and across India, and they, based on the need from different regions.
So was it FIAVs or, your or FIAVs initiative to get Sakshi involved, or Sakshi contacted FIAV?
So it was our initiative, and we checked all the due diligence as well. It means it has to be certain paperwork to be done to show that they are eligible to receive this sort of aid, and that sort of groundwork was done by our ISS Secretary Sanchita ji. They said that she understands. She closely worked with this organization to get all the due diligence done, just to make sure that it's going to the right direction.
Okay. So now, how will the FIAV be doing the monitoring or getting it to the right people?
So what we are doing that the containers will take 3 to 4 weeks to get to India and clear all the customs and everything. So in the meantime, what we're doing, we're working with the different members of our member organizations to understand who are the different NGOs working in the ground level and have a bit of reputation to support these in the time of need. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna screen through those different NGOs who are working on the ground level, get their details, and we will pass it through the Sakshi, and they have their due diligence as well that tend to meet certain criteria. So once we pass those needs and those details of these organizations, so Sakshi will work on them, and then they will circulate through the supply that you've sent, and based on the demand as well, which is
just correct me if I'm wrong. Do I understand from what you have just said, Sakshi is going to lead the effort in India, but not actually delivering through its own people? You will be liaising with other NGOs, and then you and Sakshi will be allocating the help through those different NGOs.
From the involvement perspective, it will be more consulted, I would say, but the decision the Sakshi will make, it means if we look at the overall operating model, so we have sent this particular aid to Sakshi, but also we'll pass on some recommendations to Sakshi that these are the charitable organizations who are working at the ground level, and I believe that you can send aids to them. Now, Sakshi will make a final call whether they can receive those funds or not.
And who in the FIAV is doing that work, looking for various other NGO names to make a recommendation to Sakshi?
So
that's what you just said that FIAV is doing at the moment. Is that correct?
Yes. So there's a it's not only the FIAV team, it can come from pretty much anyone. Even we just send a mail to our member organizations that if you want to be involved and if you know you can pass a recommendation, it means it's a collective team effort. It's not a single person making the call that where it should be going. So we are collecting all the data and putting back to Sanchita ji, who is pretty much looking into that one from the due diligence perspective. And she will check the paperwork. She needs certain paperwork and that I'm not aware of. She needs certain paperwork to make sure that this is a valid NGO and that name can be passed on to Sakshi. And if she's she got enough information, then she will channel it through to Sakshi.
Is the Australian High Commission also involved in any way?
We had sessions with the Australian High Commission, with the multicultural ambassadors, and we understand that they have that is a bit of I would say overwhelming help have been offered. So they don't want to directly involved into that operating model. They have paused few of the sessions that where we can go and reach and provide that help, like UNICEF or a few other organizations, but directly they are not involved.
So where exactly is the aid reaching? Which port in India? Is it going by ship?
It's going by ship, and that information it probably will reach to Delhi, not in the port, but yes, somehow it will reach to Delhi as a central location, and I'm not sure that which port exactly it's going.
Do you want to just briefly tell me how the project has been kind of conceived and then wherever it is now to that stage, how you have been handling it?
Yes. So I think Pritom has given you a good brief. I can add wherever it's possible, I'll add. We were, as an FIAV team, we were all thinking how to help and how to assist our community in India, and the best way that it's possible. And when we were asked by a few of the suppliers who can provide anything, then we tried to think how we can extend our services. And that includes we can maybe approach other suppliers and ask them what they can provide. And but the biggest worry was if we approach suppliers, the biggest worry is where will the product be, who will receive it and who will distribute it and how will it be distributed. So that was our main thing. That was our main concern as well, that we wanted to clarify each step at each stage. What will happen, who will receive, who will distribute, how much will be required, so that we can trust our collaborators even in India, and we can provide the exact information. So the dry port that it will reach is Delhi. So we are getting all the consignments sent to one port, the dry port of Delhi, so Tughlakabad port. Yeah. And from there, it will be distributed amongst many other organizations. We also have state government on board, many state governments on board. We also have a police department on board. So we are going to work along with all these small organizations. So we have some organizations who work specifically in tribal areas only. So we are not just covering the metropolitan areas of India. We are also trying to reach the most vulnerable areas, which have been most affected by COVID. So who don't have these resources.
So how are you going to identify those areas and people who should be receiving the aid from?
So that's according to the statistics that we are receiving. And we have also asked the financial statements and everything to see what they have done in last 1 year, because COVID has been in India for last 1 year. So many organizations are already running a lot of programs and providing supplies and everything. So we can see what they have been doing, what areas have they got good distribution channels and everything. And from their information, the ground level information that their volunteers have collected, the state governments have collected, the police has. So we then decide where to distribute what amount.
So yeah, and also do you decide, or does does Sakshi decide?
No, it's not one person's decision. It's like collaborate. We discuss and then we decide what's the best way.
Yeah, so also I mentioned, Sanchita, that we are working with the community to understand that what are the specific needs we have, needs of the
Yes.
all that's in specific areas, so that we can pass those recommendations to Sakshi. And also we
Yes.
do our groundwork that whether they are eligible enough and passing
Yeah.
all duties.
So we have
To me,
initially
it
when we
looks
were
like there's a kind of mountain of work, and probably you have people to help you. Otherwise, you'll be snowed under the load of work.
correct.
So much to
No,
do.
it was a lot of work, I can tell you. Well, I couldn't even, I didn't even get to sleep for that 1 week because you want the right thing to be done, but in the right way as well. But we have a lot of ground level support. We got support from our government of India. We got support from our state governments, and that's why we could manage to take it forward.
So, was there any hiccups from the government of India side? Because usually
No, thankfully, no. But I've worked in India a lot with all these departments prior to coming to Australia.
right.
So um, I know I've worked with many organizations myself. So I had that relationship. So thankfully, no. But it was a lot because of Sakshi's help, I must say. They were willing to take this big consignment on their name, even though we are distributing with many other organizations. It's not that they are only going to distribute the material at the end, but they were willing to come on board and help us at every stage.
Right. Okay. I don't want to sound negative, but there is a lot of doubt when it comes to the actual person getting the aid. When people
Right.
send from overseas, there have been
Yes.
already questions. So much is being sent to India, and some
Yes.
people claim it's just lying in some warehouse or even not being cared for. So,
No, your doubts are like, I can completely agree with all of that. But for that, so I'm actually the vice public policy consultant, and so my job is to evaluate such projects and to find those mistakes and errors or faults that can happen. So that's why we have laid down already.
yeah, look, please don't misunderstand me. I didn't mean to doubt this side of things in Australia. What
No, it's
you're
true.
planning
No,
to
that's what
do?
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So no, I completely understand that, and that's why before agreeing to take this big shipment on board, we wanted to confirm everything. We wanted to do our due diligence and everything, that this thing will reach the right person at the end. And so the administration cost is very less in all of the process. Even mostly we are working with volunteers only, and that's why we wanted to first safeguard volunteers so that their life is not at risk while we are doing it.
Right.
And got the support from that from our organizations working in India. Then we have already because Sakshi has been doing this work for last 1 year, they have a proper document of like proper documentation system already in place, in which the person who's receiving the name, the ID, Aadhaar card number or PAN card number,
So it's all audited system.
correct, all will be monitored.
And
Yes.
from various other community organizations which are under the umbrella of FIAV, have you been receiving kind of help in kind, or helping you in the paperwork or planning? How have you put it together? Because I can see the size of it is absolutely humongous.
It's humongous. So all the collaboration that is happening in India, that end, all the memorandum of understanding and the legal documents have been prepared. Right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Here,
so basically to fill you in, so this particular project is mostly done by the FIAB executive committees, but we also reached our member organizations that to gather more information that what different roles they are playing in regards to aiding part, and that's not necessarily has to be aligned or uh, connected with this initiative, but they
Right.
can
Okay.
always pass on the information or the NGO names they have in mind. Also, just to fill you in quickly, Dinesh, as I interrupted, that what Sanchita ji mentioned, that we received a lot of requests earlier as well, that we regarding AIDS and everything, but we took a bit of time to address the general concern we have among the community, that we are sending a lot of things, but are we sending to the right people, or is it going to be an overhead to the Indian government to cater those things which they don't need? So that's the reason we took a bit of time to understand that how these organizations working in the ground level, and thanks to Sanchita is putting that legwork to understand that particular scenario. Because if we look at now, we see that a lot of charitable organizations or a lot of fundraising happening all the time, but most of the time we don't have visibility what's happening in the very low level, on the ground level. That was our concept.
So we didn't want to take this responsibility till we were sure that it will, reach the right person.
Right. Okay. Now, one more thing on this project. Is this the only lot that you guys planning to send, or there will be more lots after this?
So at present, this is the biggest part of what we could do. But there's otherwise, we are also working with another organization here and trying to send some, I can't right now tell you the exact thing because it's not yet confirmed, but we are trying to send another lot of things, hopefully by this week or next week if things get confirmed.
Right. Okay. Now, I need to kind of ask you guys your view of what has gone wrong in India. You are free to refuse to answer if it sounds political and you don't want to answer. And then I want to ask you a couple of personal questions about your immediate or extended family. Now, first to the politics side of things, do you think that the government has not done enough and what India is going through today is somewhat establishment's fault? First, let's hear from Pritom.
Okay, so yeah, thanks for asking the question. And first, when clear that when being a secretary of FIAV, my primary responsibility to cater the interest of Indian diaspora in Australia. And the moment we start living outside, I'm an Australian citizen, the least to interfere into the political landscape of India, that's better, because probably we don't have the clear picture. If you're getting our source of information from news, there's n number of sources. So,
okay,
and
so
we are not
that's a very polite way of wriggling out of the question. What about you, Sanchita?
I completely agree with Pritom.
So you also don't want to say anything.
No, I think, look, I don't think so any government in the world was ready for something like COVID. And it just multiplied in India because of the population as well. So,
no, but Modi government is being blamed for ignoring the second wave and not preparing for it.
I think no government in the world is ready for it. Even what happened in US, even what happened in India, even what happened in Italy, UK, I think it's all over the same situation. It's just things multiply in India because of many other factors. Right. So there are many other factors that are in play in India. I don't think so only politics or only finance can be picked out. Like, you cannot find one, you cannot identify one. It's a cyclic reaction. And I think it will, look, COVID is now going to stay probably with us. And so I think governments will take some time. The public will take some time to understand the gravity of the situation exactly.
Right. Okay. Now, just on a personal note, is any of your immediate or extended family members, are there any casualties or issues back home in India? Pritom, are you from West Bengal or?
Yeah, I'm from West Bengal, and we.
Is everyone safe in India for you, in your immediate and extended family?
So this is definitely an event which touched every family. Now, pretty much every family. It means we know someone, we know from our relatives, from our friends who lost their life. So yes, in a way, if we are talking about immediate family, it means if you're talking about moms or siblings, they are still safe. That's all I can tell you. Still safe, because we are still going through this, and we are, yes, we are counting. We are
so
counting
far so good. Okay, what about Sanchita? What about you?
Well, yeah, I've lost few people close to me and close to our family, some within family. My dad also, he's a doctor, so he had COVID in the first wave, not in the second. So yeah, but I would say I think vaccination rollout is pretty good in India.
Right.
And that needs to be highlighted sometimes because the severity could be much, much more. But because our population is getting vaccinated, so I think the severity has been a bit controlled because of that also.
Right, okay. Very, very
Yeah.
briefly, finally, just two quick things from each of you. Pritom, first to you. Indians stuck in India, is the Australian government handling them okay? Do you have a comment on that?
Again, you're asking a political question, which is
that's affecting us all.
So I'll answer this question slightly differently. That there are definitely, this is a question which will divide the community, the whole community. There are people who are thinking, yes, that's the best decision to save Australian, to protect Australians. There are people who will be saying that we are treated differently. From FIAV, our stand was that we were with the government. It means we understand that under what circumstances the decision was made, and we requested that it must be reverted at earliest possible time. And
but now there's an upgraded demand from the members of the Indian community that there should be separate flights, negative flights and positive flights. So we can't leave anyone back in India, whether they are positive or negative. What do you want to say on that?
This is again if you ask my personal opinion, if we are talking about Australians or the PR holders who call this as home and
yes.
they are sick outside, we have a moral obligation to bring them home.
So whether negative or positive?
Yeah, it's a negative or positive, we have a moral obligation to bring them home and treat them. And
okay. What about Sanchita? What about you?
I think, look, we have to understand that the situation can get out of control also very easily. So I, as a person, would say I would actually wait for health advisor, people who can provide us a better advice on this situation. I don't think so. I'm in a position to comment on if health sector here in Australia is even ready for all of that. So I think I leave it up to the experts.
Right. Okay. All right. Very briefly, first, Pritom, to you. Any message you want to give to the local Indian community in Australia?
Definitely, this is a time of where our unity, our voice, and our support and our empathy to be tested. There's a time to be united. There's a time to stand with India and support wherever we can. So this is a time to work and support rather than get influenced and get divided.
Right. Sanchita, what about you? Any message to the community?
I think it's same. I would just, I know many people have been affected by it, and I know sometimes words cannot be enough, but I would say hope is one thing that we all have to somewhere believe in, that yes, the situation will change. It's a wave, and hopefully things will change soon. And with that hope in mind, I think we all, like Pritom said, we all have to work together so that we can see the other end of this wave as well.
Thank you very much for taking the time talking to Bharat Times, and hopefully we can kind of seek your comments on a regular basis. Thank you.
Thank you,
Dinesh. Thank you, Sanchita.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.